Hello and welcome to this week's virtual training session. We're going to talk about yard safety. So we're going to talk about parking lot safety tips for employers and employees. Over a 10-year period, there's been over 2,000 deaths from people in business parking lots. Here, the trouble is that too many people feel real comfortable in their parking lots, both the drivers and pedestrians. Here, the level of danger is not recognized. The minds are on the job ahead or what's waiting for them at home. Again, we go back to that one we had a few weeks ago about complacency. You don't recognize the hazards that exist. So, again, you have to keep up on your situational awareness. Your safety depends on being aware of what's around you, your surroundings. It's easy to think that you're safe working in the yard in the morning. You're there every day of the week. You know everybody working around you. And, we do have your six, but that doesn't mean you can walk through the yard. Now, this time of year, we have problems because it's darker out, making it hard to see. It's probably cold and people are rushing around trying a bit quicker because they want to get out of the wind. These are probably the two big reasons we're more likely to have an accident in the yard. So again, just like when you're driving, we want to say see and be seen. So anytime your vehicle is moving, it's a good idea to have your headlights on, especially like in the rain and snow. Even on a bright sunny day, it's just that extra bit of awareness you're giving to other people that you're there. Make sure you clean your windshield, clean your headlights. The other morning, I was headed to the gas station and my lights weren't looking too good going down the road, having trouble seeing the lines and everything. Got to the gas station, checked my headlights, and yeah, they were pretty gunked up from road debris and stuff like that, snow and mud and all that other stuff. So that does help. Now, another thing that can help, especially when it's rainy, and that is products like Rain-X. If you don't have Rain-X, you can use rubbing alcohol. Put a little bit on some piece of cloth, wipe down your window, it cleans it, and the water just sheets. It's just like it's not even there. So it may not be the best thing for your the rubber holding your windows in, but uh, until you can get things working again, that'll be fine. Now, in order to be seen, especially in the dark, you do want to wear your safety vest. Again, these bright yellow vests with the reflective stripes, they're visible up to 1,000 feet. Light just shines right off them. You don't want to be mistaken for a deer during hunting season, that's for sure. Class 3 is recommended for night work, but it's not required. Now, some of our customers do require our people be wearing Class 3, so we need to be aware of that. Check the SAL. Wash your vests about every 2 weeks. I mean, guys, I'd look at some of those vests and then looks like you've been crawling through the mud for 2 weeks easily. So, and they will lose their reflective properties. When they do, hey, just talk to somebody and we'll get you another vest. Now, traffic in the yard. In the morning, because it's dark, people are in a hurry. They want to get to their job site. People let their guard down. And you got to watch out when you're driving. People step out between vehicles without looking. Some people driving will be going a little bit faster, trying to get to the road a little bit quicker. Others are thinking about what their needs are and what needs to be done at the job site. So their head isn't focused on what's in the road in front of them. In the yard, you may not think about anything. They may not be thinking about it being a problem for reaching over to the passenger side to grab something, taking their eyes off the road. And maybe they're checking the route that they're taking on their phone. These are all the distractions that people are having when they're in the yard. There are many reasons people are not paying attention to what's going on, so again, you need to stay alert. Install signage to direct traffic flow. We may not deal with this in our own yards at our offices, but sometimes we do have some traffic flow problems depending on where people are parked. Parking lots are small, cramped corners, a lot of inbound and outbound traffic. People are constantly pulling in, backing up, and pedestrian can be walking through lanes at any time. Now, some places will install one-way lanes that can be very dangerous. An unsuspecting driver rounding the corner while driving in the wrong direction. Regardless if it's a one-way or two-way parking lot, you should have painted arrows or some way to dictate proper traffic flow. And we may run that into that problem more at our customer's place of work. Okay. Make sure all entrances and exits are marked clearly, and you should have an idea where the pedestrian crosswalk areas are. We talk about see and be seen, but there are other ways to communicate with people that we need to think about once in a while. The warehousing in this building is in the back side of it. And all day long, UPS, FedEx, and assorted semis pull around this blind corner. Well, we have trucks that are pulling out in that same direction. So you can't really see the traffic coming. So just like we want the forklifts to do, we want them to beep when they come in and out of buildings because of changing light levels. We want to warn oncoming traffic at this blind corner. So just a friendly little beep, beep. You don't have to lay on the horn real heavy because we are right next to the office there. But just give people a heads up. Also, this time of year, we get drainage. Some of our parking lots aren't really have a problem with that, but we really need to look at it because we do get water, we do get melt, and then it gets cold and we get ice. But even on just water, we could hydroplane. These parking lots are cramped spaces, and this is a recipe for disaster for both drivers and pedestrians. So if possible, mitigate the water and ice accumulation. Uh, it'd be nice to have a drainage system to get that away from our walking and driving area. So it's important to clean the system out to prevent buildup if possible. Okay, so let's think about maintenance around our yards. We need to salt the icy areas, especially if it's a entrance to the building. I know at one of our yards where the people fill up the water tanks for the drills, it's right by the entrance to the warehouse. And that gets all covered with ice, and people are constantly going in and out of that spot. That should be looked at. Replace lights that are dim or dead, and remove debris that's fallen from the trucks. Guys come back at the end of the day. There's who knows what cables and tree limbs and everything else back there. We need to get that stuff out of our way. And occasionally we should get the lots resurfaced if they're gravel, repaved, or let's say graded. Now, some of our properties do have security systems. They do have cameras watching out for what's going on out there. That's a good way to monitor what's happening, um, to see where the problems are and what we can do to maybe make things safer for everybody out there. Some places will have automated lights that come on when the sun goes down, and of course, security cameras to record any incidents, and also having motion sensors so we can check on what's going on after hours. Now, the vehicles we're dealing with, we've got some big trucks and big trailers. And again, the bigger vehicles have more blind spots on them. So again, we need to be aware of the traffic moving around us. Sometimes an operator in a backhoe or a big truck, they can't see 360 all the way around them pretty good. So, and then we have forklifts running around too. And where are the steer wheels on a forklift? Yeah, they're on the rear. So what happens when you turn the wheel on a forklift? Those forks swing out. So we got to be aware of the swing zones on every vehicle. So on job sites where we're using an excavator or something like that, we should have the swing zone marked off. Nobody should enter the swing zone unless they have voice, visual communication with the operator. And then they should be able to see that the operator recognizes them, takes their hands off of the controls. Coning off an excavator is pretty simple. A lot of times these are stationary when they're being used. You can look at that picture on the bottom right, and you can kind of see where the operator can have visual contact with you in other areas where you're invisible to them. So be careful when approaching any type of equipment. So the backhoes and forklifts are buzzing around the lot in the morning. You need to be aware of where they are. Operators should understand that they should have a full 360 view of what's going on. Sometimes it's a good idea to have a spotter with them. We had an incident, last more than a year ago now, but somebody had a big backhoe and they were moving some things around and they had no idea that somebody was uh, in their swing zone and the person got knocked over. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but you got to avoid those situations. Now, if you have a forklift out there, even a forklift that's not moving could be dangerous. Forklift, the forks on the ground could be a tripping hazard, and if they're not on the ground, somebody can definitely bump into them. That's happened more than once. Good idea, good practice. If you're not using the forks, put them down, tips to the ground, and then warn people about that. So be careful in the yard. In the morning, we could have uh, forklifts, we got trucks, we got trailers running around the yard. Everybody's trying to hurry up and get to the job. So remember to be careful, take your time, keep your eye out for other people, and warn others when you can. Have their six. So be careful in the busy yard.